Hi film fans, welcome to It's Only a Film. My name's Sam, and before we begin, don't forget to leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you get the latest up-to-date videos and content from this very channel on YouTube. Today, we're taking the red pill and making our way down the rabbit hole as I tell you why I love 1999's The Matrix. Back in 1999, I was 12 years old when this film came out, and it absolutely blew my mind. This film has loads of action, martial arts, and it had a sci-fi story that made me question my own reality. My brother and I really liked our martial arts movies, and this film certainly fed into that love big time. Not only did I love this film, it was revolutionary for its time and it changed action movies forever. So, get jacked in and find out why, to me, The Matrix is not only a film. Keanu Reeves plays Neo in this film, and honestly, how cool is Keanu Reeves in this? Just him and the others when they're in the Matrix with the shades on, they've got their cool leather coats on. I just think the whole aesthetic looks phenomenal. These guys back in 1999 were the coolest guys ever.
Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image.
You had the martial arts, the gunfights. Keanu Reeves pulled it off really well, and I found him so believable in this role. I really felt like I was going on this adventure with him. One thing I think is incredibly unfair towards Keanu Reeves, he gets a lot of stick for his acting. However, I'm not here to criticise his acting because in this film he was spot on. The guy fits the part. There's no one else who could have possibly been a better choice to play Neo.
Nice.
Thomas Anderson is an office worker disillusioned with his mundane life and is searching for something more. When he's not stuck in his day job, he is a hacker going by the alias of Neo. Through his illicit activities, Neo learns of something called the Matrix, and he is looking for a mysterious man by the name of Morpheus who he believes can give him the answers. Morpheus believes Neo is the one who is prophesied to bring an end to the war between humans and machines, and also free the other humans that are trapped inside the Matrix. Once Neo is free from the Matrix himself, he begins to take up his training. This is where he gets plugged into a training program.
This is a sparring program
Where you can upload these really cool abilities like learning different types of martial arts. Later on we see Trinity becoming a pilot of a helicopter.
Need a pilot program for a B-212 helicopter.
These scenes are really cool to explain why these guys, when they're in the Matrix, can do all these really cool stuff that they can't do in real life. During the training program, when he learns Kung Fu, he even has a sparring match with Morpheus.
I know Kung Fu. Show me.
During this match, he realises he can bend the rules of physics slightly, and that's where he begins to understand that there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. Honestly, the martial arts in this film is incredible, and I even remember reading somewhere that Keanu Reeves had an injury in his leg and couldn't perform a lot of kicks during this movie, but really you wouldn't even know because the rest of the martial arts in this film is incredible. But knowing this, when you watch it back, you will see that Keanu Reeves does very little kicks, but he's really awesome with his hands. The rest of this film consists of Neo trying to understand whether or not he is the one. Also, it's building up to this massive fight between him and Agent Smith. Apparently Will Smith was offered the role of Neo but turned it down, and to be honest, I'm actually really glad he did, as I just find Keanu Reeves to be perfect for this role. Morpheus is the mysterious man who finds Neo
I am Morpheus.
and offers him the chance to find out the truth. Lawrence Fishburne is incredible in this role as the devoted believer of the prophecy that the One will save humanity from the machines. He is the leader of the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar and is like the crew's father figure. Morpheus' scenes where he's training Neo are really great fun and make Morpheus a really likeable character.
Then hit me, if you can.
when Morpheus gets captured and tortured by the agents. I remember at the time really wanting Neo and Trinity to hurry up and save him. When you see him sitting there in the chair and he almost looks dead, you can't help but feel sympathy for him. And I remember cheering when I seen him stand up and run towards that window to jump out and grab onto that helicopter. That's how desperate I wanted Morpheus to survive.
Morpheus, get up. Get up, get up.
I read the likes of Gary Oldman, Anthony Hopkins and Samuel L. Jackson were all considered for the role of Morpheus before Lawrence Fishburne eventually got the part. Even though those guys are all really great actors, Lawrence Fishburne is just in a world of his own in this role, and it's hard to imagine anyone else playing Morpheus. Now, as a side note, I haven't watched Matrix Resurrections yet, so I can't comment on Yahya Abdul-Mateen's performance as the new Morpheus. We are introduced to Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity right at the beginning of the movie.
My name is Trinity.
Where we see her beating up cops and just barely making an escape from the agents. The action sequences this film is famous for are present right from the very beginning when we see Trinity use that famous slow motion jump kick that I think for the next 10 years every action movie copied. Now, no offence to Carrie-Anne Moss, but when I first watched this film back in 1999, I didn't like her character. I didn't like Trinity in the film. I didn't like that she was being mean to Neo, and got the impression that she never really liked him, and that she didn't believe Morpheus about the prophecy that Neo was going to be the one. It's only as I got older I realised that that isn't the way she is. She's only being protective because of what the Oracle told her, that being that she would one day fall in love with the one. And it has to be said, my opinion back in 1999 was incredibly wrong, because Carrie-Anne Moss is a phenomenal actress and this film is a great role for her and she plays it really well. Trinity and Neo's story arc must have had an effect on me, because I really bought into the ending, and I remember feeling real emotion when Trinity finally tells Neo that she's in love with him.
Because I love you.
And that's when the power of love brings Neo back from the brink and he discovers that he is the one. Carrie-Anne Moss plays Trinity as tough. She's really good at martial arts. You believe she could kick your ass, and she can almost hold her own with the agents.
I think we can handle one little girl.
No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead.
And that's what makes her a badass. Agent Smith is such a good villain. The way Hugo Weaving plays him is so compelling. His hatred of the human race is so believable that at the end, when he finally gets his comeuppance, it's so satisfying. Throughout the film, when Smith and the other agents appear, you feel genuine threat for the characters. The agents have abilities that none of the other people have in this, and Smith especially is the most dangerous. The scene where Morpheus faces off against Smith in the toilet is especially brutal. You only get to see Smith's true intentions once he has Morpheus tied to the chair and he takes out his earpiece and he whispers in his ear what his grand plan is.
I must get out of here.
Describes us as a cancer.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer.
But at the same time, the other agents don't know that this is how he feels, so it's almost as if Smith is going against his programming. And I can remember back being 12 years old and really feeling unnerved by the way he's seen humanity.
The future is our world, Morpheus. The future is our time.
Hugo Weaving's portrayal of Smith is perfect. I really can't imagine anyone else play this character the way Hugo Weaving plays him. It's his mannerisms, the way he delivers his lines. Just look at the expressions when he moves his eyebrows. When Smith and the other agents are on the screen, they are a real threat, and the film does an excellent job of maintaining that level of threat throughout, up until Neo finds out who he truly is and the agents get their comeuppance.
Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.
The crew of the Nebuchadnezzar are made up of people Morpheus has liberated from the Matrix. They follow Morpheus and they also believe in the prophecy. that the One will come and save humanity from the machines. Tank and Dozer. They are both brothers born in Zion, that doesn't have any Matrix connections. Zion being the last city of humans which is not under the control of the machines, which is hidden deep underground in the post-apocalyptic world.
Born free right here.
I remember feeling gutted when it looked like Cypher had killed both Tank and Dozer, but then seeing that Tank survived and got his revenge was a real good feeling.
You're hurt.
I'll be alright.
Mouse was a likeable character. He was a bit geeky, he was a bit of a nerd, which is something I can relate to. I liked the bit when he spoke about food and he was wanting to know how the machines knew what chicken tastes like, or how they knew anything tastes like.
How do the machines really know what tasty wheat tasted like, huh?
He also creates the famous Lady in Red.
To protect it. Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
He's even creepily proud of his work.
The woman in the red dress. I designed her.
Another two members of the group, being Switch and 𝐴𝐸, never really stood out to me. I remember reading somewhere that Switch was initially supposed to be a trans character, however that didn't come to be. Cypher pulls 𝐴𝐸's cord out the back of his neck, killing him instantly while he's plugged into the Matrix. And just before he gets Switch, you hear her say the line,
No, please don't.
Not like this. Not like this.
Once she said that, I couldn't help but feel terrible. I just felt like that line hit a nerve. Cypher. I hate Cypher. He doesn't like his life. He regrets being unplugged from the Matrix and wants to go back to a life of ignorance. And he even manages to have a meeting with Agent Smith to betray his friends in the hope that he can go back in and forget this stuff ever happened.
You call this free? All I do is what he tells me to do. If I gotta choose between that and the Matrix, I choose the Matrix.
But even before you find out that he is working against the heroes, there's always this feeling that he is hiding something. He's a bit shifty. You know, there's something not quite right by him, but you can't put your finger on it. And then you get the reveal where he's actually up to no good. And when his plan comes into fruition, he escapes the Matrix first before the rest of the team, and then he picks up what can only be described as a lightning gun, and then makes his way around the crew and shoots Tank and Dozer with this gun before he then begins to unplug the other members of the team. However, that very same gun is what Tank uses to get his revenge when he shoots Cypher, killing him. The Oracle. She is a program that has the power of foresight and is integral to the Matrix itself. Even though she's a program, she wants to help our heroes in this story and tells them prophecies.
I better have a look at you.
When the group takes Neo to visit the Oracle, she actually tells him that he is not the one.
I'm not the one.
Sorry, kid.
However, it is said later on that the Oracle tells you what you need to hear at the time, so maybe Neo had to hear this before he eventually became the one. The Oracle comes across like a mother figure. Even though she doesn't have a lot of screen time, I always felt safe when they were at her apartment with the way she would talk and she would bake them cookies. This is also shown through the other people she has that are in her apartment that she looks like she's taking care of. They're trying out their abilities. There's the bit where the boy bends the spoon. I think these are the other potential candidates for the one. And as I said, although she never had a lot of screen time, Gloria Foster's portrayal of the Oracle certainly left its mark on the film. If the music in this film doesn't get you excited, then nothing will. I love the soundtrack to this film, absolutely love it. And when going back to watch it years later, it really does stand the test of time. The gun battle in the lobby in particular stands out when I think of excellent ways the soundtrack was used. And right at the end, as Neo flies off and the credits roll, there's the song Wake Up by Rage Against the Machine. The soundtrack's hard, it's energetic, and it gets you really excited for a fight. To me, it never feels cheesy, it fits perfectly with the film, but again, I am biased because there's not a lot in this film that I don't like in particular, and when you have music like this, who can argue? In addition to this amazing soundtrack, you have this incredible score by Don Davis. I feel the score really complements the sci-fi elements of this film and really heightens the scale and threat throughout. If I was rating this film based on music alone, I would give it a 10 out of 10. The soundtrack's a 10 and the score's a 10. This film's music is outstanding. I could really talk all day about the insane action sequences in this film, as there isn't a single bad one. But to name a few other scenes in particular, the interrogation scene between Agent Smith and Neo, where Neo's mouth and kind of phases together and he can't speak. Have to talk about the scene where Morpheus meets Neo and he gives him the choice between the red pill or the blue pill.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
In that scene, there's a real cool image of the reflection in Morpheus' sunglasses, where we see on one side there's the reflection looking at Neo with the red pill, and the other one has the reflection of Neo looking at the blue pill. Seeing that image is something I eventually picked up on after maybe like the 20th time I watched it, and I think as well you could go back and watch this film and find something new every time you see it. All those little intricate details show you the amount of care and attention and love that the Wachowskis put into making this film. There's also the part where Neo wakes up out of the pod and the Matrix detaches himself from him, and he's like a newborn baby and he falls all the way down the slide into the water below. When he's eventually saved by the Nebuchadnezzar, that's when he realises he's in the real world now. I mentioned it earlier on, but we can't not talk about the gun battle in the lobby. With the mix between the action, the music, the tension, this is outstanding. It is full on action and there's nothing boring in this. Total destruction, there's tiles breaking everywhere, bullets flying everywhere, and Neo and Trinity are total badasses when they're on their way to save Morpheus from the agents. Another great action scene is the subway fight between Agent Smith and Neo. Neo really starts to give Smith a run for his money, and you can see that Smith, bit by bit, is starting to really hate Neo.
The sound of your death. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson.
And finally, we have to talk about that ending. Wow, what an ending. I remember the first time I watched that film, the goosebumps I had, the feeling I had in my stomach. That ending was phenomenal. Neo is running away from Smith, but Smith catches up to him and shoots him dead.
Check him.
He's gone.
Trinity's love brings him back, and that's when he discovers he is the one.
He is the one.
When Neo comes back to his feet, he can control bullets. He starts to fight Agent Smith one-handed, and then to finish him off, he runs, jumps inside Smith, and makes him explode from the inside out. Now it's hard for me to put into words what it was like to see this the first time. All I can really say to you to get across how much I like this, if I could erase a memory in my mind and then go back and re-watch it to experience it again for the first time, it would be this. This was incredible. To this date, this has to be up there with one of the best endings to a film ever. Well, film fans, thanks for watching the video. That was Why I Love the Matrix. This phenomenal film really left its mark on me when I first watched it. It's cool, it's stylish, it's action-packed, and it set the bar for action movies forever. And it was films like this that got my brother and I into martial arts, and it blended action with a genuinely deep and insightful story. And that's why, to me, The Matrix is not only a film. Don't forget, if you want to see more, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I've been Sam, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.